Hello everyone, welcome to 360 Degree TMG. Welcome back to the interview preparation session. So let's begin for the day. Okay, so let's understand few things with respect to text mining. So to begin with, first, what is NLP? If the interviewer asks, how can you explain the term natural language processing? What's NLP? How would you start with? So it's nothing but it is a branch of artificial intelligence that helps computer understand, right? It helps the computer to understand. What else it does? Interpret and also manipulate the human language. Right? So NLP, it draws many disciplines including computer science, computational linguistics, right? So that it tries to fill up the gap between human communication and computer understanding. So anyway, we know that it is something related to your text mining. So if at all the entire thing is your AI, in that we have a subset which is your machine learning. In that you have a small subset which is your deep learning, right? So combination of all these, your NLP. It's a combination of AI, ML, DL, all this, right? Deep learning. This is nothing but your language processing, right? So when we say natural language processing, few things what we understand is that how do you work with normal the data or speech, or it could be textual data, anything. So even before we understand things, how can you differentiate, or what is the basic difference you can make out with difference between your NLP and NLU? What is the difference here? Are both same? Do you find any difference? So NLU stands for Natural Language Understanding. NLP stands for Natural Language Processing. Now, what does NLP do? What happens in NLP? What happens in NLU. So it is definitely, we all know that it is used to create some systems capable so that they can establish, you are establishing communication between humans and machines or computers, right? So it takes care of all the techniques required for the interaction, right? Whatever techniques are required for the interaction between humans and machines, right? So it provides techniques to analyze what is said, right? What is actually said. But when it comes to NLU, what is it? So on the other end, this also, it provides techniques for us. For what it provides us techniques to solve complicated problems related to machine understanding, right? To machine understanding. So it will help us to even convert, we can say it helps us to convert unorganized data, which is input data, into structured, that is most important for us, right? Structured format to allow machine so that it understands the data, right? What is meant? It helps you to understand what is meant here. So if, okay, if at all we want to know the terminology used here in NLP, so I would like to know, if I ask you, define the terminology in NLP. Yeah, what are the things? This is the most frequently asked interview question. The interpretation here, it depends on many factors, various factors. What are they? To start with, first we can say weights and vectors, right? Under this, first we can say we are using TF, IDF, right, for information retrieval, right? Then let me put a hyphen here. Yeah. Then what is the next thing? Google word vectors, normal word vectors, right? And if we move forward, you should also know the structure of your text, right? This is one. Now you should know the structure. Structure of text. What does it hold? What are the things you have here in that? Basically, we have POS tagging. You have the head of the sentence. You have named entity recognition. NER, right? So then you should know, then you start performing sentiment analysis, right? You do sentiment analysis. What other things are covered as a part of this, as a part of sentiment analysis? So you will gain the knowledge of what? Knowledge of characteristics of sentiment. Right, the first thing. And second is you will have the knowledge of, or we can say about the entities, right? And common dictionary available for sentiment, right? Then you do classification of text. You do classification of text. As a part of this first, what is that we do? You will go for supervised learning algorithm. You go for training test. You go for validation. Set. Okay. Fourth one is test set. You have features of text. And finally, LDA. And you have machine reading. You have machine reading. In this, first, you try to do removal of possible entities, right? We can also say joining with other entities. Joining with other entities. So these are the things what we come across as a part of the term used mostly in our NLP. Okay, then definitely the follow-up, once the terminology is understood, what are the libraries we use for NLP? What are the libraries? Very easy. We all know the libraries we used for NLP. What all things we used? The famous NLTK, right? Natural Language Toolkit. We used text blob, then gensim, right? And we used scikit-learn also, right? What else? Core NLP, polyglot, right? So these are the few libraries what we have come across as a to do some kind of mining here. Okay, now when we know the libraries, then let us start the process here now. First, whatever processes we come across, okay, I would like to know which process we use to convert a keyword to base form, to a base form. Which process do we have to use to convert? What is that? How do we start with actually the first step? In libraries, I missed one more thing, I guess. Megatron. It's a new library launched recently, right? Megatron. Recently, in the sense, a few days back. This is also one of the library. You can mention that. We didn't use it, but you can mention that. Yeah. What processes, which process do we use to convert a keyword into a base form? Stemming and lemmatization. Right? We go for stemming and lemmatization. So definitely when you give the answer, it's a stemming and lemmatization, right? The next follow-up question would be explain or what do you understand? Understand by stemming. What happens in stemming? What do you understand by stemming here? Who would you start with? So it is a process of reducing inflections. Inflections in words to root form. Such as you map a group of words to the same stem, even if the stem itself is not a valid word in the language. So it could be any word, right? You say connect. One word if you take connect, if you have connected, right? You have connections. You may have only connection. You may have connects. For all these words, the root form is only connect. This is what happens in stemming, right? So this is easy. What if you have battling? The word is battling. If you do stemming on top of it, what is it you are going to get? Sometimes it doesn't make any sense, right? It would not make any sense that battling word ing is removed, right? You will have battl. What is the real meaning of that? We don't know. So what you have to do, stemming will not solve your problem totally. To get into root form, you will move on to something called as lemmatization. Now what is lemmatization? I think it should be SATION. Yeah. How do you explain lemmatization? Whatever it might be, the word, right? What happens in lemmatization? So it does some kind of logical analysis, right? So we can say that it is a process of the grouping should be done, right? So that it is very similar to stemming, right? So we can say that it is a process of group together the different right, the different inflected forms of words, right? So what happens? It will group them so that they can be analyzed as a single term. They can be analyzed as a single term. That is what is happening here. So here the difference is it brings the context, real context to the words, right? So what happens here in lemmatization here is when it comes to stemming, right? When it comes to stemming, we have some words like adjustable. We have words like adjustable. So for that, what you do? You write it as adjust. It becomes adjust, right? Suppose you have formality that I should go, you'll have, or Y should go, you'll have, you may sense a meaning like this, right? Again, this, okay, formality spelling, yeah, MALITI, it will go to formal, right? If at all you have airliner, right? ER should go, right? AIRLIN. This is what you will have. This is what is happening in stemming. Right? But what happens here when you talk about lemmatization? Right? If you have better word, it would make good. Right? It would make into good. It would also sometimes, if it is having a word gone, go, right? Or we can say going, gone, go, going. All these three things it should do as some word like went, or if you have went here, we can make it, it would understand and make it into a single sentence called go. So an additional check is done by looking through the dictionary to finally extract the base form of the word. Right? Okay. Now, what is bag of words? What is BOW? Bag of words. I can say model. What does it do? So I can put a hyphen here. Now let's understand what is this. What happens here? So definitely we need an approach here. We need to represent the text data for the machine learning algorithms, and the bag of words model, it will help us to achieve that particular task. So this model is very understandable, and it's to implement also, it's easy to understand. We are trying to extract some features from the text, right? So that those features are used in your machine learning algorithms, right? Definitely through the entire process of this model, we use some kind of tokenized words, right? We use some kind of tokenized words. So what is this tokenization? We missed that, right? Even before we talk about that, what is tokenization? Yeah. What is this? What it will do? Definitely we can say that it is an art. But what art it has? It has a very good art of breaking a sequence. Breaking a sequence of your string data into pieces, right? Breaking it into pieces, and we can say it could be anything, right? We should elaborate that for words, for keywords, for your phrases, for your symbols, and other elements also, whatever it could be, you call, whatever you call them as tokens. Tokens can be, what are tokens now? Tokens can be same, they can be individual words, or it could be phrases also, or it could be what you say, sentences, right? In the process now, some characters like punctuation marks are discarded in the process of tokenization, but it would do a nice break. It would nicely break the sentence. If you take the word, right, any word, right, it would split into, a sentence is split into words, right? Whether you want to split it in, it does through unigram, bigram, n-gram. But if we say natural language processing. How would you get? You will have natural as splitted, right? Then you have language, then you have processing. And this is what the tokenization does. So using this context of lemmatization, stemming, and tokenization, now we should use all this as a pre-processing things for your model building, right? So now these words, whatever are tokenized, for each observation, we try to find out the frequency of each token. We try to find out the frequency of each token. Suppose we have a word. It could be any word. It is going to rain today, or it is I'm outside, right? I would like to go out. Whatever might be the word, right? So how many sentences I write? If I write, it is going to rain today, right? It's a string, so I have to put it in. Oh. Yeah, sorry. So I have to put it in double quotes because it is raining today. Then if I have one more sentence here, same if I write it in double quotes, I use the same today. I'm not going outside. Okay, this is one more sentence. Or if at all I use something like going word again, right? I have a sentence like this. I use a word going. I am going to watch the premiere show. This is one more word. So now you know that this is one document, this is one document, this is one document, right? All are documents. And now we should make list of all the words from all the three documents. If at all, we are excluding the punctuation marks. So what are the words I get here? I get it, right? I get is. I get going, right? I get to. I get rain. I get today. Again, what is repeated? I. This is what is your tokenization, right? I am not outside. Watch. We didn't use the, right? The didn't come, so I can use the and yeah, premiere. These are the words I have here, right? Then what is the next step I have? These are the words. We are, after excluding the punctuation marks, I got it is going to rain today. I'm not outside. Watch the premiere. The next step is that I have to create vectors, right? I have to create vectors. Then what does vectors do? Vectors convert the text, right? They convert text, right? That can be used by the ML algorithm, right? So if at all you take the first document, I should not say it as a line, it is a document. So it is going to rain today. So what is that we are having here? So from the 10 or 50, 12, we have how many unique words? From these unique words, we check the frequency of words, right? You have to check the frequency of words. And what will happen if you check the frequency? How many times not has come, how many times it has come, how many times rain has come, today has come, outside has come. For all that, you write it. You write the number like this. If at all I write it the same statement, right? So how will I get the numbers here? It is once, right? Is once, going as once, to rain today, right? So what happens here is each word a token. It is nothing but you have it as you check how many times every number is being repeated, and in that fashion what you do is you convert it into unigram or bigram or whatever, ngram. Trigram doesn't make any sense here, right? So in that fashion, once you convert it, right? So the process of whatever you are converting, each word a token, which is called as a gram, and converting the vocabulary of two word pairs is bigram, right? And the process of converting this NLP text, right, into numbers is called as vectorization. We are checking the possibility of repeated numbers, frequency of words from unique words, and you are giving a number to it, and that giving a number to the text is called as vectorization in machine learning. So there are different ways are there to convert the text into vectors, right? Counting the number of times that each word appears in the document, right? So you are calculating the frequency that each word appears in a document out of all the words in the document. That is what happens here. Frequency of each word appearing in a document out of all the words in the document. That is what happens in this model, right? So when we say it is, you have going to rain today, right? So if at all now you have am is repeating twice, right? Not is not repeating, so take not and give a number to it. So rest of the documents will be same way, right? So this is not document, right? We have, by looking at this, we have the same way of giving numbers to the each document. So if you are giving I is given as 0, suppose, so throughout it will be 0 only. wherever you have that word. So converting this, calculating the frequency, all will be a part of your vectorization. So in this process, we have to understand few things, which is nothing but TF-IDF. Now, what do you understand by TF-IDF? Term frequency, inverse document frequency. Term frequency, terms of frequency, inverse document frequency. What is that measure is all about? So it is nothing but a statistical measure, right? It will help us to evaluate how important a word is important to the document in a collection of documents. Collection of documents is nothing but corpus. So how do you explain this? It is a statistical measure where it is used to evaluate the or evaluate how important a word is to the document in corpus. In a corpus. So the importance increases the proportionality to the number of times a word appears in the document, but it is offset by the frequency of the word in the corpus. So if you divide this entire word, if we try to find out what is this, what happening in term frequency, what happens here? It is nothing but number of times the term appears in a document by total number of terms in the document. That is nothing but your term frequency. So if you write, how do you write? Number of times. Suppose we talk about term T. Some term, let us put it as T, right? Appears in a document by total number of terms in the document. Right? So it is a scoring of the frequency of the word in the current document. We can say scoring of the frequency. Scoring of the frequency of the word. Frequency of the word in the current document. Right? In the current document. Since every document you have a different length, right? Every document you have a it's not of same length, so it is possible that the term would appear much more times, many times in a long documents than shorter one. Maybe one guy likes a mobile phone, he loves a mobile phone, so he writes, it's very good, I like the good camera, I like the charging pin, like he uses that word many times because he has written maybe 20 lines or 30 lines of a review, right? So if you think that, does it really make sense that that like word is very important for our analysis? So that's why the term frequency is often divided by the document length to normalize. So this is a process where we are trying to do a normalization with respect to textual data. So the term frequency is often divided by the document length. Then how can you explain what is this IDF? Inverse document frequency. This is your term frequency. Now this is your inverse document frequency. What is that? It is nothing but now total number of documents by it is nothing but total number of documents by number of documents with term. We have used T, no? Yeah. Term init. Term T init. So it is nothing but we have a score coming up here, right? So how can you write this? It is a scoring of how rare the word is across the docs, right? How rare the word is there across the documents. Rarer the term and more is the IDF score. So we can say that if it is rare, right, more is the IDF score, right? So this is what is happening in your IDF, right? So if at all you are talking about inverse document frequency, it's not just this. You can also, you will usually write it as log of these values, right? Log of this values. That is nothing but you are writing TF minus IDF score, which will be equal to TF into IDF. TF into IDF. Okay. Now, so when we are talking about the words being splitted or the words being uh, doing undergoing tokenization, giving the numbers, so we are having unigrams, bigrams, trigrams, n-grams in your NLP. So as a part of this, if at all we would like to do some kind of analysis, like to find out what are the components here we have as a part of NLP. What are the components we have here as a part of NLP? You have entity. Okay, let me write it down. List the components of NLP. First, you have entity extraction. And what happens here? What does it do? Retrieval of information. What kind of information? I can say a place. It could be a place. It could be a person. It could be an organization. So it helps in recognition of entity in a text. Right? Then you have syntactic analysis. So this way it helps to draw specific meaning. Right? We have a specific meaning of a text. Right? Specific meaning of a text. In the same fashion, you have pragmatic analysis. Syntactic is one, entity is one, and now you have what happens in this? To find useful information from a text, useful information from text. Right? We have that lexical analysis. What is this lexical analysis? Morphological lexical analysis explains the structure. Here, what happens is that it helps in explaining the structure of words. The structure of words by analyzing them through parsing. Now, what is parsing? What is parsing? Because once you use any word, right, we should be able to explain that, because that would be a follow-up question for us. Yeah. What is parsing in the context of NLP? So when it comes to the word or the concept here, in the parsing here, it refers to you are trying to understand or understanding a sentence, right, in a grammatical structure. Right? We can write understanding of a sentence in grammatical structure by whom? By the machine. Right? So parsing allows the machine to understand the meaning of a word in a sentence and grouping of the words, phrases, nouns, objects, subjects in the sentence. So it will help to analyze the text or the document so that you can pull beautiful, useful insights from it. Right? So if at all you just write one particular sentence, right? So I have something like, I'll write it like this. I have a sentence. A sentence can be divided into a noun phrase. What is a verb phrase? Then this noun phrase into proper noun. This into verb and noun phrase. Right? Again, here, this noun phrase, you should determine what is a noun. Right? So proper noun, if I say, it's a noun, right? It could be it, he, whatever which refers to noun. Verb means it could be anything. If I write Rani ate, right? A determiner, an apple. This is your proper noun. This is your verb. This is your determiner. This is your noun. So in this, the sentence is passed to understand the structure of the total sentence, how it happens. That happens in your parsing. So a text of the, it could be a text or a document. We are trying to pull some information with respect to, we are trying to understand the grammatical way of the sentence, not just like a normal sentence. Again, when you move forward, you have something called as, if you explain this, they may ask you explain the dependency parsing in NLP, right? So what happens that the dependency parsing is, it's nothing but it helps to do some kind of we can say syntactic structure, right, to a sentence. So you also call it as syntactic parsing. So this is one of the critical tasks, right? So you have to, something like you have to understand, you have to use a different package, right? So different token properties are there. Again, that is a variant here again. So dependency passing in the LLP is, it helps to assign a syntactic structure to a sentence, but parsing is exclusively only for finding out, understanding the structure of a sentence. Like, it's not only a structure, it's like grammatical structure, and that should be understood by a machine to understand the meaning of the word, grouping of the words, right? So it's nothing but the regular grammar what we have, right? A regular grammar is nothing but it is used to represent a regular language, whatever we have. So as a part of that, you have many rules, right? You have many uh, things coming up when you talk about grammar part. So you have to analyze things, like when we say you have different, like you have verbs, you have nouns, you have proper nouns, conjunctions, prepositions. But are all these called as again? That is one of the component, right, when you talk about this. So parsing, or when you just talk about the entire syntactic analysis, it's a technique, we can say, for analyzing sentences to extract the real meaning out of it. So in that syntactic analysis, parsing could be the first step, right, in deciding the structure of a sentence or a text in a document, so that you are analyzing the words in the text based on the grammar of the language. So using this analysis, syntactic analysis, inner parsing is a part. And the first step we can say, so it can analyze and understand in entire analysis of syntactic, your machine would analyze, it will understand the words arranged in a sentence, right? It NLP employs a kind of grammar rules of a language, so that complete flow, where you will start with parsing, you will do segmentation, you have to do again stemming, lemmatization, all would follow, right? So you have to remove the suffixes, you have to remove the only suffix and make it into a relevant word. All this process would come as a part of syntactic analysis. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you all for joining the session. So we'll connect same time on Monday.